Good morning, guys. I've got a project I'm starting today to work on the driveway, clear all this brush, this small brush, and down through here we're going to try to redo the driveway. We're going to try to fill with some dirt some of these low spots, try to make this side a little wider, take some of that brush out, and going to widen this driveway all the way around in front of this garage and gravel it all, move this part over, take it out, take this dirt out, and then there's a couple big stumps, all this small brush and stuff. Work our way in behind the house. We'll work in behind the house and try to make sure the water is drained, make sure everything come out of there the way it's supposed to. Open it up. Got all these trees, all this stuff, all the way over to that juice pole right there. We'll try to get all that. Widen this driveway out, widen their yard. The two machines we're working today. We've got us a Komatsu PC60 and SVA L75. The grapple bucket. Try to widen it around through here, take these trees out, and they've taken the fence down for us. I'm going to try to level this yard out. It's had a swimming pool in it at some point. Right here, I don't know if you can tell, there's been a swimming pool right here. There's a little burn pile, but the yard, it's hard to tell on the camera, but dips and lays, weird. Then it tapers toward the house. Water doesn't run off correctly, so we're going to be reshaping all that. We got our flags. I don't know if you can see them really good, but there's little yellow flags. We got a gas line we have to watch, but we're not really going to be digging except in this ditch. Digging a little bit in this ditch. Once the water stands, then there's like right in here, there's where a slide came out. You'll notice water puddling around the base. We're going to try to slope the bank back off and pretty us up right here. Trying to get these trees and stuff out of here and watch that power line. Reshape this yard if we can. We'll get you up on the excavator and try to get started.
what you're looking at is the SVL 75 Kubota. Really good digging machine for its size. About a 9,400 pound track machine. It's got the wide tracks on it. That's how it was ordered. The PC60 seems to be a little undersized for this kind of job, but a lot of my jobs aren't as big as this. Usually it's 2 or 3 day jobs. This one took about 4 or 5 by the time we done everything and spread all the gravel and stuff. But what he's doing here is just taking some of that good materials, kind of like a shell and clay, and we're wanting to make the level where he's sitting with his machine, the skid steer, make it kind of more level, then taper into the driveway. It kind of is all slanted down the driveway. So you'll notice he's starting to lift, and we'll go out there and do less of a drop to go into the driveway. That's what he's trying to do. And when you work it in like that, like he's doing in layers, and kind of run over what you're feeling over and over and over, it seems to make for less settling and better for the job. I'm up on this level. If you notice, I went down to the bottom and just basically like I'm building a road, but I have to be able to sit on something and slope the bank. So I went down to the bottom and started and dug out that big stump, and I went all the way up as high as I was going to go and outlined the top of the bank that I was going to leave the slope. So you notice I'll get the material, I'll swing around and lay it over the bank where he can reach it, and I just keep. And when I get that done, I just take another 3 or 4 foot layer and lay it around, and just keep laying it to the left. I'll scoop it and lay it to the left, and keep. And as you do that and go work your way back and forth, you're lowering it 3 or 4 feet at a time. Plus, you're making the material come out toward him more. And he's just digging in loose material. He can move it really quick. Good job for a skid steer. Backtrack loader, whatever you want to call them. CTL. This machine's been really good too. It's got 700 hours on it, and it's done a lot of stuff like this. Really good machine. So I'll go let you guys watch this for a few minutes, and I'll chime back in here in a little bit, let you know what we're doing. Guys, I apologize for this video. Somehow when I was setting it up there, it wanted to fog my lens up, and I had a little moisture. I guess early that morning it was real foggy and stuff. So, but I left some of this in here. This is a footage of 2 machines working together good. Really like watching it. So I left a little bit of it in there, even though the screen looked a little smudged, just to show these 2 machines working together. And it's a big project, but these 2 machines handled it well. It didn't seem to overwork them. We took our time, um, moved a lot of material. Bigger machine would have done it a little faster, but it would still been the same amount of money, pretty much. We kind of flat rated the job to a point, so we kind of knew what our budget was. So that's the way I tackled it, just to do what the customer needed with the budget they had, and they seemed to be really pleased with it. And we always try to do the best job we can with what we got to work with, and that's all anyone can ask somebody to do. So I wanted to leave a little bit of this in here and just let you watch them for a second at normal speed. And I'm just moving material off of the bank over to the edge where he's just scooping good loose material and building his pad and putting some over the slope, and he's layering it. That way you guys could see a little bit of the process, and I'll let you guys go watch it for a minute. What I'm doing here is it's the next morning. That first day, we acquired a lot of brush. I brought a lot of brush. All that bank you see in behind my excavator, that yellow or light brown dirt back through there, was covered in nothing but brush and vines and small sapling trees, all the way up to 8 or 10 inch trees. And we ended up with a lot of brush and a lot of limbs and stumps. So what I'm doing is kind of laying my way out to where I can be out of the way for a while. And I'm digging a burn pit. So as we throw a brush in there, it'll burn and fall down on top of itself. And I can load it from the bottom or top or anywhere I'm at. I can just throw brush over in there, and it's burning kind of off in a hole. Plus, burning off in a hole a little bit keeps that heat. And brush fires get really, really hot, and it keeps it kind of down in a hole to where it's not just up. Anyone that knows has been on a machine and try to throw something on a fire that's roaring, it's just right in your face. So with a brush, burn pit, it's kind of down under you a little bit, and you can just keep throwing stuff on the top, and it just keeps falling down in. And it ended up burning. We didn't have to haul anything off, so we burned all the stumps and everything. I got some good footage of feeding the fire and stuff, so you guys can see. But once we done that, there was very little. There was almost nothing. There was like 3 little pieces of stump we buried that would have fit in a pickup truck bed, about it, and we just buried it in this field we did at 5 or 6 foot deep. So you'll never even know they're there, and there's not big enough to rot up and hurt anything and make big sinkholes. It's just little pieces. And I'll go let you guys watch. Here's a little clip of, I'm right in behind that house. It's where I guess the PC60, I know it's a little undersized at times, but you can swing right around in behind the house, usually with close quarters. It's not a zero tail swing, it's still got a counterweight, but it's kind of big enough to do a little bit of bigger work, but still can fit into some places. Handy. About a 15,000 pound excavator, 30-inch bucket. Thumbs manual. I'd love to fold it out of the way every time I needed to reach up or do something, but I was handling so much brush. I just left it down. It's not super difficult, but if you do folded it off and folded it up down 10 times a day, it's just no use. You learn how to work around it. Really like a hydraulic thumb, but as you're getting started in a company, you can't have everything you want always. You have to work with what you got to a certain point. Right here, this is a little difficult to do. You have to just take some practice. I've just projected what kind of slope I want, 2-to-1 slope, something like that. Trying to feel for anything solid. Don't want to leave any loose laying, really. If you're coming down and having to cut with your teeth, usually it's solid enough to lay on the bank. You shouldn't have to worry much about slides. But if you're just loose topsoil like stuff, sometimes you have to, you might worry a little bit. But it just takes some experience. And Dad taught me just kind of the feel of it, how hard it's cutting and how hard the material is. You can see as them digging them teeth or shelling it off, and it's kind of hard yellowish clay type material. Really good slope, turned out really good. I went after it rained 2 or 3 good hard rains on it. It looked exactly the same. Looks really good. Nothing's moved out of place. The water comes down the bank really well. There is no gullies or anything washing out on it. If anyone wants to see a video of after it's got grass growing on it now and gravel's completely finished. In this video, I hadn't completely done with the gravel. I'll come back a few days later after the rain passed, but I didn't finish the gravel until 3 or 4 days later. But I could do an after video and show the grass growing. The guy's got a fence up now and stuff, and the house will be for sale soon. So I can do that. If someone wanted to see it, they can comment down below. I don't care to go back. It's not far from where my shop is. This is really a lot of what we do. When we do house seats or anything, you're always digging in a bank somewhere, and you're trying to figure, will it slide, will it do this, will it do that. Not a lot of level areas around here, southeastern Kentucky. There's quite a few places I've worked. It's good level, but it's usually just like a half-acre lot or something in Corbin, London areas. But when you're working in the mountains, this is what you do. You take brush and trees down. You try to dig off one side and fill on the other. So I just thought I'd chime in and let you know what was going on. This is a really good machine for this style of job. It has pretty good reach on it and stuff. So I was really happy with the way it performed on this job. I've had a few troubles with it. I'll have a video out maybe later of us putting swing burn in it. Pretty intense job. Set the whole machine apart. And we had to rebuild the engine in it. But running strong now, so we'll see how it gets us. Switch to the skid steer this time. We've got a lot of the material put over the bank. Kind of, it's a little dress work. Got a little different bucket angle. You can see how I grade with a tooth bucket. You can grade with a tooth bucket and still leave it smooth. You learn how to lay it down there. The teeth are touching. You can kick it back a little, let the back drag a little bit. There's just different ways you learn as you put the hours on the machine. I used to watch my dad a lot, try to figure out how in the world does he do this stuff? And I would think and wonder and try to watch him so close. And I finally figured out there's only so much watching you can do. I'd watch Dad do all this grade work and think, how does he do this? I don't understand. I don't see how he sees the low spots. I don't see how he knows where to put the next bucket, how deep to dig, how if water's going to run. How does he do it? I just sit and think. And it's like I would strain myself to watch him. And I finally figured out, which he said it, and it just all of a sudden clicked. He got sick. He couldn't help me as much like he used to. And I had to do a lot of jobs on my own and kind of rely on what he taught me. And what I finally figured out was you just got to do it. I have a good trainer in my dad, and he showed me a lot of things, and he let me run them since I was little. Run equipment, track loaders, excavators, drove trucks. But what he always said is, he said, the only way you're truly going to learn how to do this is, he said, you got to put the hours in sitting in the seat. And it just clicked. But now I have to admit, all the years of watching and listening to him talk and explain jobs, and we'd talk on the way home, and it was soaking in. I just didn't understand that it was. So, here we are 5 years later, and I step onto a job, and it's like I can't hardly explain it still to people fully, but I'm getting better at it, the customers. But it just starts coming to you as you put the hours in the seat and on the machine, learn your machine, its limits. It starts coming to you a little more, and you'll get challenged a lot throughout your time doing work like this. But what makes you better is when you get challenged and you just dig in, you put the hours in the seat, and you finish a job, and you start the job, and you finish it. Used to, I'd start jobs and then get to the finish work, and I'd be like, I'm going to have to get Dad to help me. But what finally happened is he wasn't available, so then I had to start finishing. And there's a difference between taking a big cut and laying it over the hill than to making sure the water is going to drain, where the culverts are going to go, and, is the road crown enough. There's a huge difference. So I appreciate my dad's training and everything, and he's always told me, you got to sit in the seat. And personally, on this skid steer, on this particular skid steer, probably 750 hours. I owned one before this one and probably put 300 or 400 hours on it. So I've got around 1,000 hours running a skid steer so far. I've rented them along when it was just packed gravels and maybe run a power rake a little bit or something, or load dirt. Um, really, really put a lot of time in the past couple of years on this machine here. A lot of time on an excavator. I had never ran an excavator much. I started on a dozer. Excavator seems to be what I enjoy running the most. Wouldn't care later to have a nice big excavator or larger like the PC60, but something 15,000, 16,000 pounds. Probably get rubber track just because seem to can get in driveways and be around in subdivisions and things. There's a few negatives to them, working in rock and stuff. Sometimes you gotta be careful and then climbing muddy hills or something. But I can make it work with good rubber tracks. Wouldn't care to have a progressive link hydraulic thumb, a hydraulic quick coupler to switch buckets out, and also have maybe a bush hog with it, hydraulic tilt, dishing bucket, stuff like that. That's my goal, was to get, it's kind of like something with a bunch of attachments and be able to handle anything. So as you can see, I'm getting a little better with the skid steer. A lot I got to learn and stuff like that, but I really enjoy running it and enjoy running the excavator probably the most. But this Kubota skid steer is a really nice machine. A lot of room in the cab. I'm a big old guy, and I've spent 10, 12 hours in the cab of this thing. Not gonna say it was easy because 12 hours on a machine ain't that easy anyways, but it wasn't that bad. I got an air conditioner, got a radio, comfortable seat, a lot of room, so I'm thankful that I'm able to have a machine like this at my early age and early in my business. So I'll let you guys go and watch a little bit. I'm doing my best here to level up that yard where the swimming pool was. We had grew the yard a little. We had raised it some. Had to be careful. The road was off under us and neighbors and stuff, so we was respectful to that. So I'll go and let you watch me kind of do some final touch up, and then I'll close with some finishing thoughts there at the end. Thank you. As I'm backing up here to the right, you're going to see the open culvert. We had 2 more sections of culvert go in right there. But the problem was, I was digging the culverts, and I knew there was a water line there. We knew. But right where I thought I was low enough, I made one more pass to make sure, and I cut the water line in two, which we knew where to cut it off. We kind of were prepared. But that happens on these jobs. When you do a major reconstruction like that is, um, you're gonna run into something. I mean, there's just too much digging going on. You either find some old workings or old pipe or old grate, or you almost always run into something. But we also had a little run-in with a gas line. Didn't know this. They had came and marked it. We were cleaning the ditch out, and we went down a few inches, and I thought I seen a little wire, which I think that's what they located with. But I told Dad, and I said, leave it alone. You know, we're getting close. I hit a little wire, and I figured it would be deeper. I probably didn't go down 6 inches, you know, just trying to make the road right. Well, he gave me a call. I was at work. He was just peeling around. He said, I went up that ditch to clean it out. And he said, I cut the gas line. He said, gas is spewing, which I, thank the Lord he's all right. He backed down out of the way because we didn't want the machine sucking the gas up or nothing. And luckily, Delta Gas is pretty close, and we handled it. But when they came to us, they asked us, why we was digging and stuff. I was under the impression a gas line had to be, 24 inches in the ground or something. Gas line pretty dangerous. But from what they told us, you can comment down below what you think. They said 10 inches is all they had to bury. So, I don't think that's deep enough myself. You can dig 10 inches with a mattock and cut it in half, Good stout feller could. So, I just thought that was interesting. But I'll go and let you finish up watching what I'm doing here.
Like a bird on a tree, I'm just sitting here. I got time, it's clear to see. From up here, the world seems small. We can sit together. It's so beautiful, you and me. We meant to be in the great outdoors, forever free. Take a step back to see the truth around you.
Here's the finished product. Machine's done well, no breakdowns. This is about 5 loads of gravel. I think we had 2 more. We ended up using 7 loads of dense grade. To your right, along that bank, I didn't get no video footage of it because we were both trying to finish up before rain. But along that bank, that lower bank, we cut out with a skid steer and basically built a road underneath, like off under the hill, built a road around through there. And what that does is that stabilizes it because we were putting dirt over the bank and we were just dumping it. But you can't just dump it. It can let loose and slide off. It can, break and crack and just give trouble. So you take and cut into the solid bank and make like a road, just enough to get out through there. And then as you put dirt over, that dirt falls down into that road and you put it in layers, then at the end, you just reach over the hill and dress it up with an excavator. Um, and it looks really good. Plus, it's very sturdy. It's a trick Dad taught me. He's very uses it a lot. He's very cautious when you get around banks and stuff about sliding. So there's where the homeowner's digging around and putting in one of those things around his crawl space entrance. Or there's the way it looks. All that one stump right there was huge, and it was. I didn't want to dig that stump out and leave a big dent in the bank and make it look odd. And also, if I put dirt back, you just have loose dirt. There's no way to get up there and pack it in. So we both agreed, me and the customer, that the stump will rot up over time, grass will grow. He probably got up there. He said he was going to. Over there, that's where we made the road. Just over the break of that edge, we made a road around the bottom down through there. And it seemed to carry the material really good. But he'll cut that stump off, and hopefully everything will work out. We'll put the rest of the gravel down the road. Appreciate you guys watching. Thank you for all the support so far. If you don't care, like and subscribe and leave a comment. Love interacting with people. Give me advice. Let me know. Try not to play as much music in this one. It's going to be a long video. Apologize. It's just a really good transformation, and I wanted to show it all. I started to make 2 videos, but it's just 2 videos is a little. It stretches it out, and people lose interest, in my opinion. So, thanks for watching.